I want to share some wisdom, some little nuggets that I used to help transform my life inside and out. Yes, I've lost weight, but I transformed so many areas in my life. I'm still working on it, but these are some of the little tricks that I used. Honestly, it's more mental than it is anything else. It's roadblocks. I can't tell you how many times I would start a diet and fail. Start a diet and fail. And then, every time I'd start a diet and fail, I would beat myself up. Instead of thinking, okay, I learned what doesn't work for me, I would just beat myself up. Oh, I can't stick to a diet and something's wrong with me. And this record of what's wrong with me would play in my head. Of how come other people can do it and I can't figure it out? And I must be just destined to be, fat or whatever. This would play in my head over and over and over again. And honestly, I can tell you that I believe that obesity can be more of a mental disease than a physical disease. At least it starts there in the mind. It's that record playing over and over again that, something's wrong with me, and that, we're reaching for a substance, something to change our state, whether it's to try to avoid dealing in the moment, or rewarding ourselves, or feeling like we've had a bad day, so we need to, dive into a hot fudge sundae, whatever, changing our state, using it as a coping mechanism, sugars or food in general. Mine was sugar, for real. I used it as a coping mechanism so much. I would numb myself, especially being stressed out all the time with my job and my kids and whatever. I would just stuff emotions down, especially stuff that happened in my past, instead of dealing with it in the moment. When memories and bad things would come up, I would just numb it and stuff it down, change my state. Instead of dealing, now I make a habit of dealing with things in the moment, emotions that come up, and I'm like, oh, what's all this about, and having to think about it. I didn't know how to do that before. I thought, I got 4 kids. I don't have time to think about how I feel. I just got to keep moving. So I would just stuff it down and not deal. I've learned to experience what's going on and say, why do I feel this way? Ask myself questions and then release those negative emotions so that I can learn from it. What can I learn? How can I transmute this energy into wisdom that I can share with others, or just to live a better life? If you can start approaching things differently that way. Also, if you start to look at what really besets you every single time you decide, I'm going to eat better, I'm going to stay out of the drive-thrus, I'm going to, eat cleaner, whatever you decide to do, whether it's keto, paleo, carnivore, vegan, whatever. What is it that gets in your way? Because I can tell you, so many of us start these eating plans, and then 2 weeks later, we abandon it and we go back to the same why. Why are we doing that? You got to look at what your triggers are. What is triggering you to go back to it? Is it just not being prepared? Because you go through your day and you're like, oh, okay, I'm not going to be hungry later. And then, of course you're going to be hungry later, and you got to make a decision, right? So you're like, at the moment you get hungry, you're like, no, that's not the time to be trying to decide what you're going to eat. It's being prepared, right? That's one of the hurdles I had to overcome. Was I wouldn't really think about it. And then later I'd get home and I'd be like starving. So we'd order pizza and I'd be like, oh, I'll start tomorrow. That doesn't get you anywhere. It doesn't help you move forward in your goals. And then you just feel bad about yourself. So you got to kind of ask yourself, what is it that sets me back? Is it, is it social situations? Like, are there people that trigger you? Is it, your mom comes around and she kind of, gives you a guilt trip, or you go to her house and you don't want to, she's like, oh, I made these cookies. And you're like, Mom, I'm on a diet. And she's like, gets her feelings hurt because you won't, you used to love these. Why don't you want them now? And then you feel guilted into eating a cookie. She loves you. She'll get it. You got to explain it to her. Mom, I want to be healthy. This is not helping me be healthy. Don't try to make me feel guilty in eating the cookies you made, okay? Yes, I love them, but I am choosing not to eat them right now. You stick up for yourself in social situations where people are trying to guilt you or food shame you. Don't be rude. You're in a social situation, Don't offend the host by not eating what she prepared or whatever. You know what? It's your body. It's your body. I mean, think about it. If there was an alcoholic there, nobody would be offering them beer or wine, right? Especially if they knew. If they didn't know, then maybe. But if they knew that they were an alcoholic, do you think they'd be like, hey, have a glass of wine? No, you wouldn't do that. That's awful. Be responsible for somebody falling off the dry wagon and, being an alcoholic and living their life the way they were before. There's a reason why they quit drinking, right? Food can be the same way for people. And if you're one of those people, you know if it's a coping mechanism for you. You know if you're addicted. You know if you need to stay away from it. And if you don't think that food is an addiction, take a look around. I work in a grocery store. I see it every day. These people that are so large, they can't even walk through the grocery store to shop. And when you look in their basket, lo and behold, what do you see? Lots of pop in the oven, fast foods like pizzas and frozen dinners and burritos and lots of Pepsi and Twinkies and things like that. It's an addiction. And you can't tell me that people that live that way and eat that way are truly happy with how they feel, because they're sick. And it's evident by the fact that they can't even walk through the store. And I'm not body shaming. I'm talking about living a healthy, vibrant life, because I can tell you before, when I was heavy like that, I hurt everywhere. Now I have a 1-year-old granddaughter that she crawls around on the floor and I chase her around the couch on my hands and knees, and she squeals and laughs and I chase after her, and I have a ball doing that. But it's because I'm healthy and my knees don't hurt that I'm able to do that. And I thank God every day that I'm able to get down on my hands and knees and chase my granddaughter on the floor. That is such a blessing. And it's because I've put in the work and I healed myself. And anybody can do it. It's not hard. You just got to start paying attention to what your triggers are and start doing the work and planning ahead. Start planning ahead. If you know you're going to a social situation where there's going to be stuff there that's going to maybe tempt you, maybe eat a meal before and just nibble on a few little things that you know you can have. If you're a keto, you can have the meat and cheese, things like that, maybe some veggie sticks, paleo, nuts, that kind of thing. Plan ahead. If you know you're going to your mom's house and she always tries to guilt you into eating food, have a meal before and say, Mom, I really am stuffed. I couldn't eat another bite if I tried, so that way you don't feel guilty for lying to Mom, or whatever you got to do to stay out of the drive-thrus, to have food prepped and ready to go so that you don't fall on your face because you didn't plan ahead and you didn't have good, healthy food ready to go in your fridge. Throw out the crap that you have in your cabinet that besets you. If you love ice cream, don't have it in your freezer. Some of this stuff is just like, duh, right? But of course, do you think I did that before? No, it took me a while. And then I was like, oh yeah, that would be a good idea. Let's get all that crap out of the house and maybe I won't eat it. Oh, it's for the kids. Yeah, right. It's for you. I used to say that all the time. These are for the kids. Yeah, they were for me. Something else that you might want to think about is the way you talk to yourself. Be your own cheerleader. Start telling yourself, I can do this and I'm worth it, because you are. You're worth it. You're worth putting in the work. Don't be telling yourself that, it's too hard. And okay, yeah, it's going to be hard. It's not easy changing your lifestyle and changing your eating habits. But if you really want it, then it's worth the work. You are worth the work. And think about, if you're a parent, aren't they worth the work? You lead by example. They're going to do what you do, not what you say, what you do. And they're watching you. Do you want them to grow up and be sick, or do you want them to be healthy? You lead the way. And that's all I have to say about that. So if you guys have any questions or anything, leave a comment down below. Thanks.